What's up, everybody? Welcome to Fanatically Speaking. I'm Kent.
I'm Logoff. I'm the Logoff legend. And we're here to say everything that every fan is thinking, but louder and probably a little crazier. Get ready. This is Fanatically Speaking with Kent and Logoff. You know what's funny? Like, I'm not a social media hater. I'm a social media hater. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want people to think that I get on the internet and start hating people on social media. That's not what I do.
The first half was absolutely horrible. You know, just inept offense, inept defense, special teams, you name it.
I'm going to turn into Oprah. Why were you so angry?
He sucks this season. This game, whatever's going on, right? And the very next pitch, guess what they do? They double homer, and he's like, "Told you, Dad. Why are you always knocking down people?"
You got the highs and the lows.
Yeah, so I do that.
You need the highs and the lows, and
so I do that. Yeah, but
I'm trying to be the voice of reason here.
I am what I am. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Fanatically Speaking. I'm Kent, the co-host and promoter.
I am Logoff, the Logoff legend, hater of social media. I am the co-host and producer of the show. And this episode is going to be a little different than something we've ever done. We've kind of keyed in on three major sports personalities who've had some positions and some things that they've said publicly that we just want to take an issue with. So the first one, we're gonna come in hot right out of the gate. We're going to key in on one Mr. Stephen A. Smith. Now, Stephen A. Smith was on an episode of First Take this past week, and he was speaking specifically on the NBA gambling probe that we actually covered in our bonus episode that we released. But the Stephen A. comments kind of stood out to both myself and Kent. And just to lay the groundwork on this, we're not political people. I don't look at things through a political spectrum. And honestly, I try to avoid a lot of the political news, and I have for the last decade. So if you're new to avoiding political news, just understand you're hopping on my train. I've been doing that.
Yeah.
But the Stephen A. thing, and I wanted to kind of key in on this specifically. He was speaking about the gambling probe. And the one thing that he said was he mentioned that the president he alluded that the president was involved in the probe itself because of some of the NBA protests that had taken place in years, and just kind of some of the way that the league has kind of shifted themselves away from him and his presidency. And then he also alluded to that because of the same thing took place in the WNBA, that he's coming for them as well. So I just threw all that out there. I just wanted to set the table for us, Kent, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, so it was surprising to hear him say that. One, there's a few reasons. One, it was on First Take, and if you don't know, Stephen A. Smith has his own political show, Straight Shooter Stephen A. Smith, where he talks politics because he really said it with no, I don't know, proof is the right word, right? So for him to just flat out say Trump was kind of weird. To allude to that, and then also, as you said, then to just blatantly allude that he's going to go after the WNBA. I mean, he literally told Monica McNutt, watch out, the WNBA might be next. And based off of absolutely nothing except, most
I
of the
think
WNBA
so.
Doesn't, yeah.
Yeah, I think this is going to happen. Therefore, yeah. I'm going to say it on, one of the more prominent sports shows in history. Yeah. I'm just going to say these types of things, and I'm going to let you finish. But and we spoke about this briefly before we started recording. I feel like he took something, like he married the two worlds together. We know that there's been rumblings that Stephen A. Smith has some political aspirations. How seriously you want to take those things, that's up for you to decide personally. But for you to marry this to, I mean, if we think about it, probably one of the bigger sports stories of the year when it comes to the NBA gambling probe, and then you introduce the president's name into the discussion when no one was mentioning it. It just kind of felt like he just kind of wanted to seize on that moment and use it as an opportunity to kind of marry the two things together when, like you said, there was no real connection to the two.
Not really.
You know, he introduced it, and of course, you know, you can make your cases for it in one way or the other, but it just kind of seemed like a waste of energy, like a waste of effort in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it was not only a bad take. It was just irresponsible of him. We talk about journalism and things like that, and I'm not saying he's not a good journalist. I'm just saying that sometimes the media talking heads on TV sometimes like to say stuff like we talk about. They like to say stuff to get the clicks, the likes,
to get the buzz going.
To get the buzz going. It's, again, you got to be responsible. You can't just say stuff. Again, you want to say that on your private show or your political show, cool. But again, on the network, that's where we get a little gray area. Like we talk about Ryan Clark. You got to remember you're on ESPN. You're not on the Pivot podcast. So have your podcast, do what you do. You might get flack for that, but at least that's your podcast. ESPN, national television. When you say things like this, you're triggering things, right? And again, this story, before Stephen A. said this, I don't think that anyone was linking Trump to this scandal. It was just mafia, NBA. Now the feds are involved.
Well, yes,
and then, like you said, it just made it even worse to say that Trump himself, he's coming after the WNBA next.
well, and not only that, it's also he introduced it, and the question is, why would you go out of your way to mention the WNBA? And it's like, oh, well, I'm just warning you guys. Well, first off, if you did, okay. And I'm going to backtrack a little bit. I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to calm down just a little bit, lower my blood pressure. If you did something wrong, if you did something illegal and you get charged for it, that's on you. So if there's a WNBA coach, if there's a WNBA player, if there's some front office official, if there's some referee, if there's a gambling scandal that's taking place there and these people actually get caught, they got exactly what they deserve. I don't give a shit what happens in that regard. But it's almost as if he's insinuating that he's aware of these types of things happening, but we've never heard of them. Have you ever heard of a WNBA scandal that is 10% of what the magnitude of what the NBA, you know, just the scandal that just came out about them? Is there a connection that I'm missing? Is there something that I just haven't heard?
I don't know of a scandal in the WNBA.
Period.
Outside of they've just been trying to grow their league. So they're, you know, the only thing going on with them is, you know, they're underpaid.
Then Nafisa Collier, you know,
all these things. Yeah, with
the WNBA commissioner. I'll give you that.
But that's normal sporting, you know, business.
Contractual,
topics, right?
Yes, contractual collective
that's
bargaining.
normal. That's normal stuff. There's been no cheating scandals in their 25-year history. None that I'm aware of.
But
like you said, Stephen A. put it out there.
He put it out there as if there's something that we don't know that's coming. And it's like, if you know it, like speak to it. Like you have that journalistic responsibility.
Yeah.
You can't just throw these fish, you know, these fish on the table and just say, all right, guys, now you clean this up. You gut it and scale it and cook it. It's like you just threw the fish in front of us. What else do you want us to do with it?
So now if it happens, if there is a scandal, then everybody's gonna look and say, oh, well, Trump must have went after him. Right?
No matter what.
And again, we don't carry the weight. We're just saying, you know, Trump is the president right now. So, you know, it's Stephen A. mentioned it. So this is why we're saying this. It was just, to me, like I said, it was making something out of nothing and adding a piece that wasn't added. And it should have been more focused on the scandal at hand and how it affects the league and things like that. I think there's a bigger issue than thinking that the president of the United States, who, you know, if you do follow the news, I mean, he's got bigger issues and the feds combined with other things than probably going after the Portland Trailblazers head coach, Chauncey Billups, a random assistant coach in Damon Jones, former player, role player, and Terry Rozier.
Yeah,
Those are
yeah,
not names.
and
Those are not
yeah.
names. As I mentioned to you, if Trump was going after people, he would go after the people that actually spoke out against him.
And it
It's
have
not
huge
any
names.
and it's not
Yes.
any of these guys. So
Yeah.
that's the part that also is the disconnect is I don't think this is not the scandal or the players involved that if Trump was going to go after enemies or those who spoke out against him, these were not the names on the list.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah,
so he
and
lost
also,
me. He lost me there. He lost me there.
well, yeah, and also it's and I love this. You have some people who may call you names or insult you,
Yeah.
and typically people lead with their strongest, and it's like
Yeah.
if this was the best you got,
No.
and it was in a gambling ring that involved 30 other people allegedly, like, and some of those are names like, I mean, none of them ever even ring a bell for me. So it's like, okay, so these are the strongest names you got. Okay. That just means that if there is something that takes place with another league that he wants to allege, chances are those names aren't going to be bigger either.
No. No,
They're
he
not going
won't
to be
know.
huge, massive names. But no, I agree with your sentiment. He should be more responsible. I think he just wanted to be the first person to the party with the take. He just wanted to throw it out there, but it just seemed like he threw an unnecessary log on the fire that didn't need to go there.
Hmm.
And he say, "Oh, brace yourselves, it's coming." It's like, okay, well, what can anyone do? If a crime had been committed, it's already been committed.
Yeah.
The only thing is that we don't know about it. But, I guess we'll have to see. Time will tell. But no, I'm super disappointed from Stephen A. And, it went viral as it should have. And, I guess we'll see what comes of it from that.
Yeah. So to say on the ESPN front and media heads saying things, we got to get into also Dan Orlovsky. Nice, super nice. I like Dan Orlovsky. He breaks down film, all these things. But then again, he says stuff. He said stuff this past week that, or recently, that, and I know you give opinions on, sometimes you give an opinion, which is not necessarily a lead or a story that you know of. And the thing I'm speaking of, at least with Orlovsky, and you may have something different, was him saying that A.J. Brown, wide receiver of the Philadelphia Eagles, prefers to be traded. And he's basing this off of just the news that's come out recently, the social media post by A.J. Brown. I guess he's just watching them saying, "Oh, I can just tell."
Yeah, so I'm actually gonna read his quote.
Which is not. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I've got his quote. So this is a quote from Dan Orlovsky on where he speculated about the trade desires. His quote is this quote: "I would disagree that he's trying to send a message of I want the ball through to me more. I think the more time has gone on by the day, I think that there is a reality there that AJ Brown prefers to be traded." End quote. So that's pretty strong for someone to just say, especially
Yeah.
someone of Dan Orlovsky's magnitude. And listen, he's spoken into a microphone forever. He's done it far more recently than I have. So maybe this is something where it was maybe a slip of the tongue. I guess you're kind of saying, to allude to the same thing that we said about Stephen A. in the prior segment, that these are where people need to be more mindful of the verbiage that they're using.
Yeah, I get it. Like, they're on TV again. They're trying to get these hot takes off, but you can't just say stuff with. I just say I mean, you can apparently, but it's just, again, it's irresponsible to just say things that you just think in your head, or you're gathering yourself by what you're watching and what you're seeing. And again, it probably hits a little close to home because it's the Eagles and AJ Brown, but they've spent a lot of time on it, and somewhat rightfully, right? I mean, there's been some, obviously, the passing game we talked about before, and AJ Brown getting the ball and things like. He's a receiver, but he's acting better than most receivers in the past have, right? He's not doing sit-ups in his driveway yet. So, but back to Orlovsky, it's again just throwing stuff out there to put more fire that is already kind of there in the media sense. that the Eagles have to shut down all the time. This thing that they are going to trade A.J. Brown, that he's just so unhappy. But for him to say that on top of it, now it adds to people to say, Orlovsky said he prefers to be traded. Well, did he say that though? Did Schefter tell Orlovsky?
Well, and I think it's not. I've always said it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And I think there was a way for him to introduce this if he was to present it as a question. Or, and this is the other thing, he's Dan Orlovsky. Like, he's got connections. He could have made some calls. Like, you could have gotten an answer to this question as opposed to just throwing this out as a reckless speculation that it is. You're just saying this, and listen, man, there's so much going on in sports. There's so much going on in the news cycles as a whole. You don't have to make shit up like this. So it was just, I think that's probably the thing that annoys me the most. Not only that he said it, and not only that it was reckless, it was unnecessary. Like, you introduced this into the conversation. Now shows get to talk about that ongoing when you pull that out of your ass. It came out of nowhere. And I think that's the part that annoys me more than anything. Yeah, it's like, come on, man. Like, you're better than that. And I like Orlovsky too. Yeah. And this has got nothing to do with him being an Eagle, like A.J. Brown playing for the Eagles. It's just like why would you bring this up and introduce it, much like the subject of the previous segment? It's like, what the hell are y'all doing? Be better than that.
And then ESPN, again, I'm seeing it because I didn't watch the show that day, but
Neither did I.
Because it's clips.
Because it's clips and circulated.
And ESPN is posting it, and then you're seeing it on other outlets. So it's like it went viral. And so that part worked. It's just, but how much truth is to it, Correct. And again, we're not going to get into Ryan Clark, but again, he's on that set a lot with First Take and with Orlovsky and with Get Up, and he's been known lately to make comments and then have to go apologize. So I don't know, something in the water there at the network.
Yeah, something going on up there in New York, man. We'll have to see, but I'm pretty sure there'll be some sort of retraction or clarification on this, because it is something that kind of spread like wildfire with Dan Orlovsky. And I think the other thing is this is something that's out of character for him. This isn't the type of person that he is. I don't want to think he had ill intentions. I just think it was just a position. So. Yeah, I think it was just a position that he had, and hopefully he clears it up. Maybe he does know something, but to just say, to allude that someone wants to be traded, and to keep in mind, this is after A.J. Brown's coming off his best game of the year.
Best game of the year, yeah.
And
another social media post by A.J. Brown.
But he's always done that. He's done that for the last 2.5 years. This is what he does. So it just seems, I don't know. And that's another thing that kind of bothers me. Look, I'm Logoff, guys. I hate social media. I hate social media. It's like for to watch professional broadcasters, to watch Mike Greenberg, to watch Dan Orlovsky, to watch these polished professionals go on TV and talk about things that guys posted on Instagram. Like, y'all ain't got nothing else better to do.
That's the world we live in, though.
Oh my God, that's the world that you guys live in.
Not you.
I'm outside smelling fresh air and watching leaves blow. That's what I do. Damn it.
All right, so we're gonna shift gears to another sport. Not even the network, right? This was off of Fox Sports Radio. Me being the baseball guy, I took a little exception to this comment from, it's been like, last week? So the World Series is going on. Shohei Ohtani, one of the biggest names, if not the biggest names in baseball right now. Him and Aaron Judge, top two players. So Rob Parker, on his Fox Sports Radio show, this was after the National League Championship Series, before the World Series. The Dodgers win. They sweep the Brewers. In Game 4, this is what Shohei Ohtani did. Again, nobody's done this since Babe Ruth.
Go ahead and read off the stats.
Yeah, there's been nothing like him. So in this game, a closeout game, he pitched. He was the starting pitcher. He ended up pitching 6 shutout innings with 10 strikeouts. If you also know about baseball, the Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani, he also bats leadoff. He also hit 3 home runs in that game. And he got the MVP for the NLCS. Nobody else is doing that in baseball. No one's done that in baseball
for
ever.
decades.
Ever. Maybe Babe Ruth, but that's, I don't count Babe Ruth. So that's my hot take on Babe Ruth. You got to play against everybody, not just certain people. But Rob Parker decided to say this quote: Shohei didn't do anything special. People are making it out like he pitched a no-hitter and hit 4 home runs on every at-bat. So, one, I don't know if Rob Parker knows anything about baseball. Because once again, if you know the history, if you know this, normally the history of baseball, again, we know Babe Ruth. Again, I'm going to mention him only because he was a pitcher and a hitter. Then he became, obviously just a hitter with the Yankees. Over 714 home runs. But there has been no one like Shohei Ohtani. We've had pitchers that come in the league and they can hit. Madison Bumgarner, Mike Hampton, they were pretty good hitters as pitchers. Now, of course, we have universal DH, so pitchers don't hit. And then comes Shohei Ohtani. He pitches and he hits. And he don't just hit, right? It's 50 home runs a season. Over 100 RBIs, around 300 batting average. He's about to get another MVP. Again, he is one of a kind, and he's a pitcher. Now, I want to do just a little more backstory on this because of why it was such a big deal. One, he pitched, right? He gave up no runs. He threw 6 innings, and he had 10 strikeouts. Double-digit strikeouts is an accomplishment in any game. He did it in 6 innings. He didn't even pitch a complete game, still had 10 strikeouts. Again, and also 3 home runs. The pitching part's the big part because Shohei missed all of last season pitching-wise. He hit, but he didn't pitch because he had arm surgery. He had an arm injury surgery. So he only started pitching about, halfway through this season? Right after, roughly half the season. So he was still getting in his groove. So for him, in the playoffs, a closeout game to pitch like that, and then also 3 home runs in a game, which is not a small feat in itself. That's a big deal anytime anyone hits 3 home runs in a game. 1 home run's great. 2 home runs is even better. 3, like I said, only so many have hit 4, but 3 in a game. And you're talking about the playoffs to go to the World Series. I don't care that it was a sweep and it was game 4. It was still the closeout game. You want to close out that game, and he did it on the mound at the bat. And Rob Parker is sitting here just saying he didn't do anything special.
So
what the hell, man?
You sent this to me. Again, guys, I'm not on social media, so people literally have to send me things in order for me to kind of brush up on it and hear about what's going on. So when you sent that to me, my first reaction, and I actually sent this to you, was that Rob Parker historically zags when everyone else zigs. Yeah. He's going to be the contrarian. But where I think he's missed the mark with this, and it's obvious, it's point blank. You talked about Ohtani as a player. Ohtani is at the top in terms of best pitchers, and he's at the top when it comes to, you could talk about home runs and hitting, but let's just say hitting as a whole because that encompasses home runs as well. The historical precedence that this sets is massive. I don't know, again, what Rob Parker was trying to benefit from saying this from. I think it was just, I'm going to say the most salacious, ridiculous thing that's taking place right now. I'm going to go the other way, just so that way I could grab the headlines. I think that this entire show, this entire recording is circling around people just trying to generate buzz for themselves personally, independently, separated from, whatever show that they're on. Like the name of the show that Rob Parker is on, we don't even know. The show where Orlovsky and Stephen A said the things that they said, obviously that's First Take, but that's not Orlovsky's show. It just seems as if people are we're in the age where guys are going to say things, where people are going to say things that grabs the attention, And the worst part about this is we're going to put this episode out, and within a matter of days, it's not going to matter. We're all just going to move on.
Yeah.
And I just want to, I just wanted to speak on that because I like holding people accountable for the things that they say. I talk a lot of shit, man. But if I'm wrong on something or if I'm off, call me out on it. We can have the discussion. Then we can move on. But I would like to see whatever Rob Parker's, he may double down and say, guys, I said what I said and I'm going to own it. But I would like for someone to give him, hey, man, this is something that has never happened before. And you brush it off as if it's not a big deal. Maybe he's not a big baseball guy. So maybe it was a shot at baseball as a whole. But for you to discredit a player as great as Ohtani, as great for the game of baseball that Ohtani is, and for you to crap on that type of performance like that, it's just, I think it just kind of speaks to him, maybe being a little too loose-lipped and just wanting to get his, be a little too hot takey.
Yeah, like you said, this episode is about these talking heads saying things, and we've talked about this before. This was just, to me, like Rob Parker and even Stephen A. I just think they were bad takes. Rob Parker's, to me, was just outrageous and not even like, you can have a view on the other side of something, right? Just have some information to back it up. He has nothing to back this up with. He has nothing to back this up.
So I'm going to follow, but here's the thing. I'm going to follow your lead on that though, because I think if that's our bar, like if that's the standard, then this entire podcast is about people saying things outrageous, because of all three people that we covered in it, none of them have proof of anything. They just went on live broadcast airways and said some shit. All of them.
True. I just, like I said, if you it is that, and that's what we're saying. Like, it's just, they're just saying stuff, and it's just, it's just so outrageous, and it made no sense whatsoever. And the take is just so bad. Again, for me, especially Parker, I think it's just because it doesn't compute with in the game of baseball, statistically, historically. It's like, dude, what the hell, man? It's bad, and I try to think about guys like Skip Bayless and Colin Cowherd. They like to say a lot of stuff, and again, like we said, all these guys do, especially on TV, radio. They have a platform, and you want those hot takes, and you want those different views and opinions. And I think about Colin Cowherd way back when he said, LeBron, you can go sit down. Ben Simmons has got this. And it's such a bad take that did not age well. Yeah, he was completely wrong. And like you said, we say things, but like I said, we're going to say things we believe in. And you may, some people may say, man, they're crazy. But at the end of the day, if we're wrong, we'll come back on here and say, hey, we're wrong. But I'm not going to say shit I don't believe in. And I'm not going to say, stuff that is just so outrageous. You may be like, I don't know, Kent. Like, that's kind of out there. But I'm like, but I believe it.
Well,
we're not just going to say things to say things. It's again, just have some facts, just have some proof, just have something to back up the craziness that you say. That's what I want the talking heads to do. And I know they got to fill up, hour, 2 hour, 3 hours a day on their shows. Stephen A's got the ESPN, he's got the radio, then he's got the podcast, then he's got, then he's going on CNN and all these other shows. I mean, he's a busy man. He's talking a lot. You got to cover, you got to have content, but just don't be saying stuff, man.
Well, and I'll end it on this because I understand what it is that you're saying, but these are three key stories that took place all within a matter of hours.
Right? Yeah, it was all in the same week.
Yeah, all within a matter of days. And I think, but what's most important is framing this around what actually took place. There were things that were said, and I'll give these guys cover. If you want to introduce these types of topics, just ask the question. If Stephen A just would have asked the question to the panel that was up there with him, then you can engage in the conversation and allow people to do the speculation and everything for you. Same thing with Orlovsky. Just ask, just say, hey guys, do you guys think he still wants to be there? Like, all of this goes away. But when, and the same thing with Rob Parker could have turned that into multiple hours of fantastic talk radio by asking the question and have whoever else is on the show with him interact with him, or have people call in and tell him to his face that he's nuts. Like, you have an opportunity to build on it. You can cover these same things and say the things that you want to say, but how you say them matters. And simply just asking the question, meaning if it was me and I really wanted to know, let's just say, for example, I felt the same way Rob Parker did. I'd get on here, I'd set up with you, and I'd say, hey, Kent, was it really that big of a deal? And you, and then it allows you to take a blowtorch to me, take me out, and you know what? There's your content. Yeah. It's right there for you. So, yeah. And these guys are seasoned. Like, just be better at it, because now I think all three of them, everyone who we covered on this podcast today, they all look a little ridiculous. And that's me saying that. I put my name on that shit.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I think you covered that very well there. I would definitely let you know. I don't think I would take a blowtorch, but I think we would. You would say log off. You'd say log off. You sound ridiculous. I would say nah. That's not the case. Here's what it is, and the same on you. You're gonna know stuff that I may not be as versed in. So
listen, if I say something that ridiculous,
Rob Parker, that's just stupid, man.
Yeah, listen, if you gotta throw the grenade, yeah, throw the grenade my way, man. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah. All right, fun random topic. We're going to end on this really quick. If there was an athlete, player that you could fight and know you're going to win. You brought this topic up a while back. We never did it. So here we go. Is there somebody that if you knew you were going to win, you would fight them?
Yeah, and okay, so I like this question because it removes all doubt. Like, you get to put hands on someone, you get an opportunity to embarrass them, and you're going to walk out the victor. I don't have a lot of disdain for sports athletes. My disdain for sports athletes comes from how I view them as a fan. I have one athlete that if I had an opportunity to fight them, I think I want to do it just for the clout. And it would be someone that I would never, take a swing at ever. But me winning this fight, I think does so much more for like the legend that follows Logoff that I think I'd have to do it. I think I'd fight Ron Artest / Meta World Peace.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna go for the biggest dog out in the yard. and it's nothing personal against him. And I know he's got, some issues and things that he's faced throughout his career. But he's the biggest, baddest man in my eyes, where it's like, that's someone that you don't want to mess with. No. So it's like, so if I'm gonna do it, like, when I thought about that answer, like, I thought about like Shaq, but like Shaq's he's big and funny. Like, he's jovial in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. Meta World Peace / Ron Artest is a serious human being. And even to this day, I think his voice and his name still reigns fear in a lot of NBA players' heads. So that's who I'm going to go with.
Ron Artest, Meta World Peace. You would have the clout. I'm just going to go a different way, just so I can throw in my cultural references, pop culture reference. So for the athlete I'm going to fight, I'm going to go straight to boxing. I'm going to go to the late 80s. I'm going to go straight to Mike Tyson, baddest man on the planet. I'm going to knock him out. In the background, we'll be playing DJ Jazzy Jeff, Fresh Prince. I think I can beat Mike Tyson. I'm going to knock Mike Tyson's head into the 18th row. And if you don't know, go look it up. Go listen. You'll get that reference.
Wow. So it's funny, when we introduced this topic, I never thought about fighting a fighter.
Oh, wow.
It didn't cross my mind at all. And it's like, and just think about all the great fighters that I could have picked, but I went with a guy who's known. I went with a guy that's opposite. Hold on. That's not a fighter, but nobody would want to fight him. So no,
and he's known for one of the biggest Yeah, I mean, Artest is known for one of the biggest fights ever, the Malice at the Palace. So.
That's true too, and I did see him throw hands, and wow, it was scary. That's for sure.
Yeah, so that's a good one. You could have went with anybody that was involved in that, by the way. I went with Mike Tyson just for this topic. It was fun to do that, and then I can also make the Fresh Prince Will Smith reference.
There you
which
go.
Always makes me happy.
No, that works, man. And good. Shout out to Meta World Peace, man. He's tried to take a turn to be a better person. He's doing a lot of things, but
Tony
if
Braxton
I had
videos.
to, yeah, Tony Braxton. I remember those ties. But no, man, that's a damn good one. I like that.
Yeah, I got you. So that's another episode of Fanatically Speaking. I am Kent, the co-host and promoter.
I am Logoff, the Logoff legend, hater of social media. I'm the co-host and producer of the show. Thank you all for listening to this episode. Again, I know it's a little different, playing with the format a little bit, trying to have some fun. But, those things that came out this week, man, it was something that we just couldn't let sit there and not, use it as an opportunity to drop an episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. So you need to reach out to us on all our social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, where our podcast is on Apple Podcasts, Apple Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Podcast is everywhere on all platforms. Make sure to share it and leave some comments and share it with the people that you know.
Yeah, every time you see a post, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, like it, share it, and get more people to listen. We want to, again, just continue to grow.
Yes, no, absolutely. And Kenton, that is all I got.
That is it.
I got nothing else, man.
I'm out.
All right, I'm out. Let's shut it down.